Is Draymond Green on the move from the Golden State Warriors? Coming up on today's show, going to take a look at some teams that could trade for Draymond Green if the Warriors aren't willing to give him that contract extension and if Draymond wants to move on from the reigning NBA champions. But first, if you're a fan of the Golden State Warriors and you haven't subscribed to Warriors Today by Chat Sports, make sure you do so right now. You see the link at the bottom of your screen, youtube.com/WarriorsTV. We're less than 1,000 people away from 45,000 subs. And for this franchise, we push out content almost every single day, consistent Warriors news, rumors, and analysis. So join the Dub Nation family here at Chat Sports and subscribe today and be a part of the 2 million people who have tuned into the show over the last calendar month. So we'll first set the foundation for Draymond Green, then we'll take a look at the teams that would make sense as a trade partner. Green is eligible to receive a max contract starting on August 3rd, but there's been no traction on contract talks up to this point. And the Warriors right now are in a financial quandary. They have to pay Draymond Green at some point. Jordan Poole is going to be a restricted free agent next summer. Andrew Wiggins entering the final year of his deal. Then at some point in the future, the contract for Klay Thompson is looming as well. Now, this report came from two highly respected Warriors reporters, in Anthony Slater and Marcus Thompson of The Athletic, and they broke the news that right now Golden State, Joe Lacob, Bob Myers, not willing to give Draymond Green that contract extension. Here's what they had to say on The Athletic. All indications, though, are that the Warriors have no plans to offer Green a max extension, and there isn't any current traction on any type of extension. The typical pattern of this Golden State front office is to extend with 1 year remaining. Even Steph Curry waited until 1 year remained before he signed his max deal, which occurred last offseason. Green has 2 years remaining on the max extension that he signed back in 2019, and while he could opt out a year earlier, the Warriors' current preference is to talk extension with Green next summer. Here's a look at his deal as we break down the financials of it. Base salary this upcoming season of a little less than $26 million. Then he has that player option going into 2023-2024 for $27.5 million. He's right now eligible to get that 4-year, $138+ million max deal, and the next 5 years on top of his base salary for this upcoming season would total to be $164+ million. Still so much left to get to on today's show. Draymond's impact and the difficulties of moving on from him, and then those aforementioned teams that could acquire him. But first, do you think he's eligible, and do you think he's worth a max contract? If you're Bob Myers, would you pay him that deal? W for worth it, NW for not worth it. Let me know, sound off, chime in, and be honest right now in the comment section. There are certainly pluses and negatives of Draymond at this point of his career when he's starting to get a little bit older. He's 32 years old. Still, though, one of the best defenders right now and one of the best defenders that we've ever seen, especially considering the current rule changes and style of play that has kind of changed over the last couple of years at the NBA level. He's been critical to the Warriors' culture and toughness, his particular role as the enforcer, as a leader. Him just being a basketball savant has been paramount for a franchise that's gone to the NBA Finals 6 times over the last 8 years, lifting the Larry O.B. 4 times. Enforcer, leader, smart. We know that he's a dog, a great trash talker, gets everybody riled up when he goes to an opposing arena, and you can't really replace what he brings to the floor and what he brings to the locker room. By the way, he's also gotten a lot better as a podcaster, too. Negatives with Dray. Not many, but there are some. And keep in mind, I think he's a Hall of Fame player. I think he's incredibly unique, and it'd be difficult to move on from him. But in reality, he's 32 years old, a declining offensive player. That's been the case over the last several years. At times, an offensive liability. He got benched at points throughout the NBA Finals against the Boston Celtics before he started to find a groove again. And the big question that the Warriors front office is probably having inside the walls in San Francisco, how does he age on a max contract? Now, you look at what he's done over the last 4 years, and the production has been really, really special. And he just puts his fingerprints on the game in a variety of areas. And that's why he's such a unique talent And of course, we know that he's a unique personality, and he's that type of championship ingredient that you want in your locker room. And obviously, he's been so critical to the Warriors' success. And if I were to pose this question for you, if Draymond wasn't on this team with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, would they have had and would they be having as much success? I'd probably say no. Last 4 years, yes, the offensive production has gone down, but he does so many things so well on both ends of the floor. So those aren't his career numbers, but for his career, do you think that Dray is a Hall of Famer? Chime in. This is your opportunity to be a part of the conversation, like I am as the host. Y for yes, N for no. Let me know if you think Green is a Hall of Fame player. While you're down there, make sure you subscribe to us here at Chat Sports. Join the movement. We are the digital leader in terms of sports coverage on the internet. And on our main Chat Sports YouTube channel, 318,017 subs. We're going to continue to grow, pushing out multiple videos per day on the NFL, NBA, and college football. Now to the much anticipated Draymond Green destinations. Which teams right now make sense? Now, keep in mind, there would have to be a pretty sizable trade that would have to take place. So we're not going to put together trade ideas because it's way too early for that. But a couple of destinations and the potential lineup with Draymond Green depending on those trade packages. I think the Chicago Bulls, that's a team and an organization that really has been irrelevant since Michael Jordan left. Derrick Rose led that franchise to a couple of really good seasons. They were the number 1 and 2 seeds in the Eastern Conference for a couple of years. Outside of that, they haven't had any sustained playoff success, thanks to LeBron James just basically cucking their playoff hopes. But you put up Draymond Green on this roster, and it's a pretty good team. Lonzo Ball, if he comes off that knee injury, DeMar DeRozan, Vucevic at the 5, Zach LaVine, your hyper scorer, and Draymond Green as a defender makes this lineup better, but also his passing innate vision makes this lineup really, really operate like a well-oiled machine on the offensive end of the floor. To the Dallas Mavericks now. Draymond would be interesting here. You lose Jalen Brunson, and you replace at least some of his basketball smarts with Draymond Green. Makes this team much better defensively. They were bad in the front court on that end of the floor throughout the playoffs, and they got gashed. They didn't have a rim protector. That's why they tried to address it this offseason with Christian Wood, who's not really much of a defensive player, but at least a big body, as well as JaVale McGee. This lineup is interesting because Luka Doncic, he's going to have his hands on the basketball a lot, and he's going to be the primary ball handler. Draymond can as well. He can bring the ball up 90 feet, or in that half-court offense, he can operate things from the high post. Reggie Bullock can shoot. Dorian Finney-Smith can shoot. This lineup defensively would be really, really intriguing with Dray, Bullock, and Dorian Finney-Smith. Now let's shift gears to the Memphis Grizzlies, another one of these young teams. And that's really the consensus before we get to the final team of some of these teams that could look to bring in Dray. A young team who's trying to get over the top, and they want to maximize their window to win over the next couple of years because, let's be real, that's the prime that Draymond Green still has left. And even as he exits his prime, still has some good basketball years left. But you're trying to maximize this window over the next couple of years. And the Grizzlies fit that bill. Ja Morant, Dillon Brooks, Desmond Bane, Steven Adams, and Draymond Green. This is a team that prides itself on the Grind City Grizz. They adopt the identity of Memphis. They love dogs, and Draymond Green is a dog. They showered praise on Tony Allen. They would do the same for Draymond Green. Offensively, defensively, I think it would make this lineup very versatile depending on the team and opposition that they're going up against every single night. And offensively especially, Ja's going to run the show. He is going to be the human highlight reel. Dillon Brooks can do a little bit of everything. Desmond Bane was one of the best three-point shooters last year. Steven Adams can hold it down on the low block, kind of like what Kevon Looney does for the Warriors, allowing Draymond Green, what I mean by that point, to play down low as well as the high post, find backdoor cutters, screeners, operate a little two-man game as well. This is pretty intriguing. Miami Heat, if they fail to trade for Kevin Durant, could they make a trade for Draymond Green if Draymond were to ask out? This is not a young team. Instead, it's a little bit of an older team with some savvy veterans who are well accomplished in Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, and then the young upstart budding superstar and Bam Adebayo if he isn't already there, and Max Strus is your three-point threat. And Draymond's role on this team would also be pretty fascinating for a couple of reasons. Come playoff time, Lowry brings the ball up, Draymond Green can as well. In the half court, Jimmy Butler can be that primary offensive creator. Bam Adebayo is just the ultimate versatile weapon as a big in nowadays NBA. He can be comfortable outside, inside, little mid-range game with that baby hook. Max Strus can primarily just cater to his strengths of being that three-point shooter. And Draymond, he just fills the roles from there. So there you go. 4 teams that could trade for Draymond Green where he could fit best. Where do you think that he would ideally be inserted into that lineup and immediately have success? Because if he goes to a bad team, it's not like he's going to turn them into a playoff contender. He has to go to a championship-level team to push them over the edge. Let me know. Chime in. CHI for the Bulls, DAL for the Mavs, MEM for the Grizz, MIA for the Miami Heat. Sub to us here at Chat Sports and on Warriors Today. Let's ride.